Hey people, welcome to the channel, and this is going to be a Pocket EDC update. The same thing I've been carrying for a long time, but little things that change here and there and worth mentioning. Keep in mind also it's been over 20 years that I've had one form of EDC or another. Yes, kind of depressing, but then on the other hand, that's a lot of experience that you can benefit from. The stuff that I cover here in the channel, also the stuff that I talk about in my books, Street Survival Skills, as well as Surviving the Economic Collapse. Now, these two books, you have a lot of experience condensed in them, specifically for EDC. In Street Survival Skills, I have chapters dedicated to EDC specifically, as well as bags, emergency kits, and a bunch of other practical stuff. Yeah, knowledge is always more important than whatever tool you have with you, so keep that in mind. I'll leave links for all of this stuff below for my books and whatever EDC I find that is relevant, either the same thing or as close as it gets. There's still some offers going with the Cyber Monday and Black Friday thing. I just checked and many of these things are still on sale. Yeah, they try to make money, which is understandable. So yeah, a long time doing the same thing, but that's how you learn what works and what does not. So I go through phases. Maybe I have like a phase in which I have a pocket piece, a coin in my pocket for a few weeks or a few months even, and then yeah, you just don't carry it anymore. This is basically what I have as my current EDC in terms of, yeah, this is reliably what I will have in my pockets. And maybe it's not this exact same flashlight, maybe it's some other, but it's always going to be a flashlight there, right? There's times in which you can modify what you're wearing. Let's say you're going to the beach. Well, maybe if I end up in the water, I don't want to have all of this stuff in my pocket. I already put things in a specific bag for that thing. You know, one of these little fanny packs that I've covered in other videos, and I'll do another one explaining a little bit more, but you adapt. But in general, the same system basically works. Let's start. The first thing, as anyone, you have your wallet, you have your cell phone, you may have your sunglasses, right? A typical thing that every normal human being these days has. Well, yeah, I just try to keep a little bit more extra cash in my wallet. I try to keep several coins. I find them useful, whatever cards I need. Mostly the idea of having cash. Have a good amount of cash, maybe $100, 200, whatever it is that you feel works for you, but at the minimum, always keep at least a $50 or $100 bill in your wallet for emergencies. Don't spend it. It's usually that you'll end up using it for maybe some good deal you came across, or, you know, at least for me in Argentina for a long time, it was the only way in which you could buy stuff, because more often than not, you just would not be able to use any kind of card. So, things do change, but the idea of having cash with you, at least for me, that's very important. Sunglasses, these are Polaroid, very affordable. I've had for a long time the Wiley X, and I tried others. These are cheap, they are good quality, you see very well, does not like deform what you're looking at. So the plastic lens is actually quite good, and I will suggest going with something that has some kind of protection for your eyes. These are also polarized, which I like. So yeah, something that works for you, and if it's, you know, reliable, durable, and not super expensive, even better. Cell phone, just a cell phone like everyone else. I try to go with something that's waterproof and get a case. I like the Spigen cases. These tend to be quite good. I've never broken a phone with a Spigen case that it actually dropped. For a very long time, I had the OtterBox case, which is huge, but man, having had this kind of case for a long time, a little bit of plasticky rubber, it really protects the phone, and having dropped it so many times, the case, the Spigen case, and a tempered glass screen protector, that combination for me has been great. I do have a little bit of gaffer's tape on the outside. It looks horrible, but I love this stuff. I did a video about gaffer's tape recently. Gaffer's tape is fantastic. You know, if you think duct tape, well, for us survivalists, duct tape has always been the go-to tape, right? It can do everything with duct tape. No, you can do everything with gaffer's tape. Duct tape is like gaffer's tape is like the evolution of duct tape, the way I see it. Just great stuff, and I like having a couple of those there. Watch, I have this one right now. Usually 99% of the time, this is the watch I have. And when I use something else, and this is cool because it's a little bit of a retro G-Shock, I like it, but this is so much better. It is titanium, it is a Casio Pro Trek. I'll leave the link for this thing as well. Probably the link will be for the newer version. This is quite old, and that just shows me how well these things work. It is solar, I don't need to worry about anything. It's been well over 10 years that I've had this. Never had a problem. Still battery is high there in terms of the charge. So I have the graphic, the moon phase, I have the waves, the tide, the barometric pressure, compass, a bunch of things that's just awesome to have there. Moving on, and here is where we start maybe, well, you have your keys like everyone else. You have keys, I think in terms of your keys are the essential EDC that you will always have with you, right? If you're leaving your house, you have no way of getting back in unless you have your keys. And if you have your keys, you will have these things. And for me, the things I want to have, a little Victorinox, it could be this one, the mini champ that I've had for many, many years now. I've gone through a couple of these already, maybe more, maybe 3. I also like the Manager. The Manager is actually quite good. I think it went out of production, which is insane. AAA battery flashlights. This is a Twisty from True Night, titanium. Good, with a rechargeable battery, and a little pry bar for prying things open. Look, this is maybe the thing you end up using the most when you have to open a box, when you have to open a little package. Instead of bringing out your big knife, that's what you bring out. Now, in terms of the things that people usually don't have, and here's where we get more into prepper survival territory, is having a knife, having a flashlight, having a multi-tool. For me, this is the thing I just don't want to be without. I know that a lot of people don't carry a multi-tool all day. Most preppers, most survivalists, most people that consider themselves prepared, they will have a folding knife, they will have a flashlight. Most people will not have a multi-tool. And this for me is essential. You should have this. I would rather be like this than this. This is just the way I see it, because I do have not only one, I have 2 blades on this thing, and these blades are quite good. You're not missing out on anything, right? Now, being better prepared, I like the idea of having both. So essential, multi-tool, and keep in mind these days you have the patent that has expired, and you have replicas, you have copies. They're perfectly legal. Nothing is there's no problem with that, but the copies they're doing are excellent. And this is $250. This is like 30. 50, 20, whatever you find it in sale. But this is a lot cheaper, and it will be doing the same thing. Yes, the quality is better here, but the price also is quite high. Make up your mind. Links for both of these things if I find them. If not, just whatever the closest thing is. But I want to have a multi-tool with me at all times. I also want to have a folder. I have a number of knives that I rotate, but I try to keep it simple in terms of the opening mechanism. If I want to change, I will usually change for another flipper. This one is a very easy to open flipper, by the way. Big blade, big flipper. This is the CRKT M16 law enforcement model. And you have a very large, sturdy utilitarian blade, clip point. You could use it for a number of things, of course. Just use your imagination. But you have the serration, so there is a bit of a utilitarian aspect to this. And the law enforcement aspect is that you have a hook in the flipper so as to use as a seatbelt cutter. And you have a glass breaker or a skull basher or whatever. So it is really a nice, solid knife. No doubt about that. I have a number. This is the one I've been using mostly lately. Little flashlight. I have a bunch of flashlights. I usually recommend people having a flashlight with a whistle. That's a good combination. This O-light, I like the way it looks. These are super effective these days, super efficient. And with a 10440 lithium ion battery of the same form factor as a AAA, this thing has a lot of juice. This is throwing 300 lumens, if you can believe that. And you can just replace it with an ordinary AAA if you need it, which I do have another in there. So nice combination, keeping things simple. Hand sanitizer. Why? Because that's a way in which you avoid the most common form of diseases out there. Washing your hands, keeping your hands clean, especially when you are there in the public. People are nasty. So yeah, a little bit of this goes a long way. No, this is no COVID related. This is just something I've been doing for decades now. You can go watch the videos. Something I have incorporated lately is a little bit of a first aid kit. Now, I will usually have my 511 tactical pants, right? The shorts or pants. And usually I have the room for this. All of this stuff fits in your 511 cargo pants without a problem. No problem whatsoever. It goes in each pocket and that's it. I will usually have these days some kind of satchel or fanny pack or little bag to maybe carry a little bit more, and maybe that will go into another video. But this, especially if I'm going like for a walk with my wife, which we do a lot of, exercising, fresh air, and just spending time together, quality time, talking and being out in the air. And, since I'm lucky enough to live in a beautiful place, yeah, we do this very often. But little first aid kit. Why? Well, Band-Aids, something to disinfect a small wound if someone falls or someone, especially with the kids. A couple of ibuprofen, a couple of paracetamol. I don't know you have your Advil or whatever the hell it's called, but those are the medical terminology. And yes, aspirin. So I will have the three: paracetamol, ibuprofen, and aspirin. And I think each one has a place. Something for disinfecting, and really little else. Not just something to keep things simple and just in case you need them. That's basically it. In summertime, I will have a hat with me. Yeah, this is already looking more white than sand or khaki. But yeah, that's kind of it, guys. Again, I'll leave links for all of this stuff there below, especially if there's some Cyber Monday or Black Friday thing going on. You can take advantage of that. I'll leave the links for my books as well, which you can certainly benefit from, given the amount of time that I've invested into all of this over the years. But truly, this is what has worked for me. Every once in a while, I may end up using something a little bit different. I've had in times in which I would have a little bit of paracord. Have I used that really? No. I used to have a lighter in my keychain. Lately, if I bring one, I bring something like this, a little big lighter with a little bit of gaffer's tape, which I'm kind of nuts for lately, and duct tape below. So it's gaffer's tape on top of duct tape. This is actually a very neat combination if you want to try it. It's surprisingly enough, or maybe not so much, the gaffer's tape ends up being more used than I can't think of the last time I've had I really need a lighter. I don't smoke, and if I'm going outdoors for something specifically, or even just, I will have a lighter with me, or several more likely. But in your normal daily EDC day routine, I haven't had the need for, thank God I have my lighter right now in over 20 years. So yeah, maybe if I find a way of incorporating, I will. And I still have a way of starting a fire in my multi-tool, by the way, because yeah, I am that kind of crazy, which is I have a small ferro rod that just disappears in this thing, right? So I just throw a tiny ferro rod inside here, and you can bring that out if you need it. Sure. So let's say I'm stranded in the middle of the Amazon forest, right? And all I have is my multi-tool. I can still start a fire. So no problem there, right? But having a dedicated, no, I don't, that's not something I need. Anyway, guys, that's my little obsession shared with you folks. Many years of doing this, many years of thinking about all of the details. This is what works for me. Probably could work for you. If not this exactly, some similar form of setup. See you on the next one. Take care.